Hello and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry, episode 35. Last time, Battler won against Beatrice. He successfully debunked, or whatever we want to call it, basically, Beatrice gave up this time. Just for this one instance of the first 6 deaths, the first Twilight, but, see, now the rest of the family has not found Jessica. Now, I would say Jessica and Cannon, but Beatrice kind of got rid of Cannon's body and put it who knows where. I did notice, I made a little mistake while making my thumbnail for episode 33. The way I make my thumbnails is I leave the previous character sprite on just so I have it as a reference for when I put the new one. But I forgot to get rid of that layer whenever I downloaded the picture. So if you look really closely, you can see Rosa hiding behind Jessica and Cannon in episode 33's. But don't look at it for too long, because I'm kind of embarrassed, but I also don't care enough to go and fix it. Anyways, I'm excited to continue. Let's see what happens. And let's see if maybe Goda gets to die. Woohoo! Rosa and the rest returned from the chapel to the parlor in the mansion. So many things had happened since early in the morning. Of course, they were high-strung. Battler and George, who had cried, raged, and let their emotions explode after seeing their parents' tragic bodies, returned to the parlor and sat in the sofas, dazed as though everything up until then had been a lie. I just realized there's like four women left on this island? Hold on, let's see. Oh, well, Beatrice. 1, 2, 3. Nope, I was right, never mind. Oh, wait. Okay, 5 if we count Beatrice. It's kind of sad. Damn. Sausage party on the island, huh? Only Maria was completely unchanged and looked just like normal. When she wasn't playing pranks, she was basically a kid who played wordlessly by herself. So even if she was dazed, she would probably look just as she did. But as she turned on the TV and flipped through the channels, it looked as though nothing about her had changed from normal. Did Rosa think anything in particular about this attitude, which was clearly different from normal people? She stared at Maria's back as though looking at something that wasn't quite heartwarming. Eventually, Kumasawa came to say good morning. Her cheerful manner was clearly out of place, and she couldn't help but be bewildered by the strange atmosphere in the room. Oh, she doesn't know. Hey. Bad news. There's 8 people dead. Well, you guys only know 6, but you know. Then, when she heard the details from Goda, she reacted loudly with shock. Oh, of course, you've contacted the police, right? What should we do in a time like this? Oh, what should we do? Please, calm down and listen. Ugh! I need this guy gone. Beatrice, please, be a dear. It seems a machine somewhere was somehow done in by lightning last night. Because of that, we haven't been able to use the phones. What? Then until the typhoon passes, we can't even contact the police. Maybe Kumasawa's exaggerated surprise was a little comical. Even in this kind of situation, Rosa giggled. Rosa! Now is not the time. Because of that, the fog of confusion that had covered her head cleared up a little. I've got to stay strong. It's not just Maria. I'm acting as a parent for George-kun and Battler-kun too, so I have to stay strong. No mention even for Jessica, that's crazy. Rosa had been the youngest sibling, with a large difference in age between her and the others. So, she had always been treated as a child. Every time she learned something new, it was something obvious to her siblings. and she had built up a complex, becoming convinced of her own incompetence. So she had developed a passive personality, asking her siblings for advice every time something happened. But she no longer had any brothers or sisters. Now, Rosa was the only one of the 4 Ushiromiya siblings left. Furthermore, if Kinzo continued to shut himself away even in this extraordinary situation, Rosa would have to surpass this crisis as the head's representative. Damn. I'm not a child anymore. Not a child. Rosa slapped her knees lightly and stood up. She must not wait for orders now. She had to start moving herself. She picked up the receiver of the extension phone on the side table. Then she immediately remembered that the phones were down. Genji and Shannon, whom she had sent to see Kinzo, hadn't returned yet. Oh, yeah, Kinzo's still probably fucking talking away, listing out his life story, making Shannon write all of it down. She had a good guess at what was going on. He was probably yelling something nonsensical again and becoming unmanageable. His precious chapel had been defiled with blood. That was easy to imagine. She had planned on using the extension phone to call to his study, but unfortunately the phones were down. Rosa decided to go to the study directly, with her own 2 feet. Her old self would have been too frightened to go see Kinzo. And in fact, if she did meet him, she would probably be blamed somehow and insulted. But this was no time to be frightened. As his true daughter, she had to make him aware of the current situation. Kumasawa-san, I'm going to see Father. Take special care of George-kun and Battler-kun. I'm sure they're on edge right now. Yes. That may be true. It is truly pitiable. I shall make them something warm to drink. Thank you. Rosa went out into the hallway and headed towards Kinzo's study. The atmosphere in this mansion, which she'd spent her younger days in and should have been full of memories, seemed somehow different. She began to climb the stairs in the entrance hall. Just then, Beatrice! In the faint darkness down the stairs behind Rosa's back, something glowed. Beatrice! It was a single, fluttering gold butterfly. That looks like 3. It fluttered around and sparkled. We couldn't get like a PNG of just one butterfly? That butterfly danced about without a sound. It was only natural. No one can hear the sound of a butterfly's wings beating. And then, it came to rest on Rosa's back as she slowly climbed the stairs. The saying, what is it? If a butterfly flaps its wings on one side of the world, a tsunami happens on the other. Or forms. What is that the saying? Hold on. Let's look it up, because I'm a tad curious. What is it? Okay, so a butterfly flaps its wings. Oh, well, let me specify the saying, because yes, a butterfly does flap its wings. Chaos theory. When a butterfly flutters its wings in one part of the world, it can eventually cause a hurricane in another. Yeah. Is that like a metaphor for all of this? You know, Beatrice does one thing and it causes all this with the family. Rosa didn't. Oh, okay. Yeah, Beatrice takes forms of the butterflies. She sneaks on to Rosa. Well, Beatrice doesn't have to open the door. She can just walk right in without having to worry about a doorknob now. Rosa didn't notice it. If someone not in the know saw it, they'd probably assume it was just a single sheet of gold leaf in the shape of a butterfly that had been stuck there. Without noticing a thing, Rosa continued heading towards Kinzo's study. Oh. So, how will you entertain me with this next one? There are still many, many pieces left. You know, I love the little Beatrice laugh. It's so cute. In the parlor, which had fallen silent again, the only sound was that of the TV that Maria was watching alone. If there was anything audible besides that, it was the sound of the rain, which had continued on and on since the previous night. Every one of those who had witnessed that unearthly and horrible scene stayed silent, as though praying that the events of that morning had all been a dream. Because Kumasawa alone hadn't seen it, her reaction was slightly different. The silence itself seemed more unbearable to her. She was anxious to encourage everyone somehow. However, she was aware that she must avoid saying anything careless, and she seemed to be pondering how she could be most helpful. Normally, it would be time for breakfast. However, possibly because something so outrageous had happened, Goda seemed to have forgotten to prepare a meal. God, what the fuck is he even here for, then? Can't even cook food. Useless. Or maybe everyone was so beaten up that they'd forgotten their hunger. Kumasawa wanted to bring up the subject of what they should do for breakfast, but it didn't seem like the right atmosphere, so she really couldn't. But she really was hungry, so she casually made a proposal. It seems everyone is tired after all that has happened. In times like this, I think the best thing is to heat yourself with some warm black tea. Indeed, that is an excellent plan. I agree as well. Oh, how about some delicious black tea with biscuits and jam? Yes, I hear Halloween will be here soon, and we will have some delicious-looking pumpkin-shaped cookies on the shelf. Did Goda not tell her about the Halloween part, or... Okay. Kumasawa-san, that's... Okay, you didn't have to do that part. Of course. She had said the wrong thing. She had reminded Battler and the rest about that horrible and tragic Halloween party in the chapel. Goda, you son of a bitch! Why couldn't you tell her about, the most important part beyond the murder? Nanjo hurriedly whispered into Kumasawa's ear. Battler, it's not her fault. Please, beat up Goda. Battler-san, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to upset you, truly I didn't. No, don't worry about it. I'll definitely turn this boiling anger back onto the culprit. In the meantime, I wonder if that culprit is still on the island. Probably. At least until the typhoon passes, no boat will come. Jeez. Yes, that's true. After all, the boats stop coming even when it's just a little windy. They certainly wouldn't come during a typhoon, yes. Every day, I really appreciate the fact that I read and then there are none. Because I just like thinking of all the comparisons I can make. It creeps me out. You think so, Aniki? Me too. That's even putting aside whether the culprit's that mystery guest or not. Indeed. We've naturally suspected the mysterious guest who calls herself Beatrice. But we still cannot be certain she is the culprit. There is still the possibility she's a victim whose corpse still hasn't been found. When I think of it that way, there's something I just can't understand. What do you mean by that? God, it's the guy no one invited. I'm sorry, I can't stand this guy. I hope you guys understand why I don't like him. Gosh. It's a pretentious douchebag, come on. It's simple. It's just like Kumasawa-bachan said a short while ago. Right now, this island is right in the middle of a typhoon, and escape is impossible. The same thing goes for the culprit. In that case, having a crime come to light should have been the thing the culprit wanted to avoid most. I see. So there was no need to draw that creepy magic circle on the entrance to the chapel and show off the fact that the corpses were there. Yeah, that's it. And if they were able to take the time and effort to do something so horrible to those 6 people, it should have been possible for them to hide the 6 corpses where they'd be impossible to find. But they needed to make a spectacle of it. They needed to create a mystery that seems impossible, but is. I agree. That brutal Halloween party probably wasn't directed at those who died. It was directed at the people who would eventually discover it. Us. It's probably safe to say that the magic circle was there to help us find it. The culprit knows they won't be able to escape from this island for a while. And yet, they acted as though they wanted to make us find the corpses in the middle of this typhoon. What does it mean? If I were the culprit, I definitely wouldn't play around and make us find the bodies. Beatrice Sama was not in her room, and the room did not seem particularly disturbed. No. Milady did disturb it quite a lot, though. Come to think of it, what happened to Jessica? Ken and Sen is looking after her. They are probably in Milady's room. That isn't good. The culprit is definitely still on the island. In this situation, I don't believe it's a very good idea to isolate ourselves in small numbers. What do you mean by that? You don't mean to say the culprit plans to kill all of us? Well, 13 at the least. Let us remain calm. That is not yet certain. But unfortunately, we can't deny the possibility that the possibility exists. Battlers, this is not a time to laugh. This is no laughing matter. This letter was in the chapel. According to this, the culprit is the witch. And if we don't solve the riddle of Grandfather's epitaph and find the gold, they'll massacre the whole family, or, something like that. I mean, crazy idea, crazy thought. Is that true? Would you allow me to read it as well? Gosh, this is a family matter, bro. It's nothing to do with you. Eek. I don't even know what that sound is. As they read the witch's letter, Goda, Kumasawa, and Nancha's faces grew even paler than they had been. That sucks. Kumasawa could no longer hide her shaking. If you don't want to die, try finding Grandfather's hidden gold. Is that it? Screwing around with us. Ugh. I'll bet she can't solve the riddle, so she's trying to make us solve it. However, I wonder what the truth is. Madame always stated that the legend of the gold was nothing more than an illusion created by the master. It is doubtful whether it actually existed. True. Supposedly, they thought it would be nice if it did exist, but only half believed it. The relatives started believing in the legend of the gold only after Kinzo's health worsened, and the inheritance problem came up. Until then, hardly anyone believed in it. I understand. Oh, so maybe that's why. Do you remember? On the table in the chapel, there were 3 gold ingots. That alone would be worth quite a lot. Doesn't that prove that the legend of the gold was real? Excuse me, please, wait. Just now, did you say there were 3 gold bars. Yeah, there were definitely 3 of them piled up. So what? I happened to hear Kraus-sama say something once. Yes, I just happened to hear it, you see. It's not like I was trying to listen in on secret discussions, no, indeed. Don't worry about that now, Kraus is dead. So then, what? Is there something wrong with there being 3 of those gold bars? Yes, according to Kraus-sama, there was only 1 bar ever found to support the legend of the gold. That is correct. I believe Kenzo-san showed the president of Marusu a mountain of gold and let him take 1 bar back with him. Or so the story goes. That 1 bar came to be in Kraus-sama's possession, and he said that no other gold supporting the master's legend of the gold existed. You're talking about Uncle Kraus here? So what does that mean? No, wait, 3? Wait, where did they come from? That's too many, right? Yes, Battler. 3 tends to be a greater number than 1. Perhaps there's another explanation. Maybe the other relatives also found 1 each, and they each brought 1 of them there. No, I cannot believe that. Goda, you've been here for like 2 years. When all of the relatives came to the mansion, I was entrusted with their luggage. I did not feel a suspicious weight back then. I think those would weigh about 10 kilograms. If that much weight was in their bags, you and I would notice. But it didn't seem that way. How light are you guys packing? Same here. At the most, there were some changes of clothes, a first aid kit, Kiri-san's makeup. Stuff like that, I think. First aid kit. What are you guys expecting to happen here? On Rose's luggage also looked pretty light. In that case, those 3 piled up gold bars were being shown to them. Or maybe to us. The legend of the gold is definitely real. It isn't an illusion. They're telling us to try and find out the secret if we can. Could they be scheming to have us solve the epitaph, which points to where the gold is hidden, and then try to snatch it away? Okay, there's no us in this conversation, buddy. Yeah, that does make some sense, but there are a couple parts that don't fit. To start, our parents, who should have been the most likely to solve the epitaph, were killed first. That seems to create a contradiction right off the bat to me. And something else makes even less sense. If the legend of the gold is actually true, then how were they able to pile up all that gold? It's almost like the culprits already found the gold, and is telling us to try and find it too. Maybe the culprit found those 3 like Uncle Kraus did. Maybe that convinced them that the legend is true and they're trying to make a search for the rest. I think that way fits the best. The pieces on the chessboard aren't lined up at all. We don't have a clue what the culprit is planning, what they want, or what they want to make us do. Is there any point? No matter what we think, is there anything we can figure out right now? It was written down what she wanted to make us do. Couldn't anyone read it? Maria suddenly laughed in a creepy voice. Wow, fork found in kitchen. I thought she'd been concentrating on the TV, but apparently she'd been listening in too. Without turning away from the TV, she very simply told us what we were forgetting. Beatrice hasn't said once that she wants the gold. All she's asking is whether you're all capable of solving the epitaph's riddle or not. Phil, I'll bet she's pretty sure you could never do it. What if it turns out we get revealed in episode 8 that, the gold was just the friends we made along the way? God. So are you saying you can solve it, Maria? I don't care. After all, she'll take me to the Golden Land, so I won't get in Beatrice's way. Ouch. In any case, it looks like we'll have to ask Maria if we want to learn anything more. Sorry, You know, for some odd reason, I feel as if Battler said he doesn't hurt women. You know, that silly me. I don't know why I thought he'd ever said such a thing. Maria, tell us, who is this Beatrice? What is she planning? You know, Beatrice is a witch. She can do anything with her strange powers. The power of magic can do anything. It can even create gold or bread. And of course it can create sweets too, right? You saw, didn't you? At that time, everyone jumped at the sound of a door being slammed shut. When we turned around, we saw that Rosa had suddenly returned, bringing Genji and Shannon. Then she rapidly approached Maria, her heel squeaking, and hit her on the cheek. Stop talking about that. Battler-kun and the rest will take it badly. Without waiting for a response, she hit Maria's cheek once more. Guys. Everyone can only stand there, stunned. Oh my god. Guys. I don't know what ooh means. What about yes? Oh. She mercilessly hit Maria's cheek again. Maybe Maria didn't feel like resisting after being hit twice. She weakly said yes. Rosa-san, there's no need to be so harsh. This is my daughter's education. No! Do not interrupt. The atmosphere around Rosa, with Genji and Shannon standing at attention behind her, was somehow cold and yet dignified. Completely different from how she had seemed before she left. She was holding up something that looked like a gun. Oh, she got it. Wait, does that mean Kenzo's gone again? Wait, no, because Shannon and Genji were in there. Couldn't imagine that she'd be holding a toy in this situation. Aunt Rosa, what is... This is father's. Because of the current situation, I borrowed it specially. Everyone should understand. The culprit is still nearby. We don't know what might happen. I agree. Rather than trying to figure out what the culprit is planning, it might be better to first think about our own safety. Father was fine, but he was considerably shaken up by these sudden events. Was he shaken up, or, you know, you just saying that to save face? Fortunately, he said he won't leave his room, so he should be safe. Well, slight issue with that one, Rosa. You invited the witch in. Unintentionally, but, you know, you still, you know, did that. For now, we should all try to stay together as much as possible. I agree. We don't even know where the culprit's hiding, and after all, there's no proof that there's only one of them. Even though I'd said it myself, I shivered. That's right. Could a single person kill 6 people and set up such a horrible scene? All alone? Isn't it natural to assume that this crime was carried out by multiple culprits? Yes, everyone but you was in on this one, Battler. I agree with Rosa-san. It probably is good for us to stay together. Yes, I think it's a good idea too, yes. Yes. Maybe it's about time we called for Milady and Canon-sen. That's right. Let's have them come down. So guys, about that. George and Iki tried to grab the extension phone, but Goto-san shook his head. That's right, the phones are down right now, aren't they? I'll go with a couple people. If George and Iki and Goto-san come too, that should be enough. No. Let's all go together. It's a wolves and sheep puzzle. If we're in balance while gathered together like this, then maintaining the situation will be safest. Yes, mass despair event. Wolves and sheep puzzle? I got it. I'll show you. Maria, turn off the television. Genji-san. Please, tell me where Jessica-chan's room is. Let's all go together. Yes. I will guide you. Come on, everyone. We'll move together. Follow my instructions. We stood up. Maria alone looked like she had some regrets about the TV, but she decided to go along with everyone for now and got up. Shannon, thank goodness. I was a bit worried when you took so long to get back. I'm sorry to have worried you. The master ordered me to transcribe something for him. Transcribe? Shannon. I'm sorry, excuse me. We headed for Jessica's room, with the armed Aunt Rosa and Genji-san in the lead. Jessica and Ken-kun were a boy and girl of about the same age. It'd sure be a shame if we barged in on them at a bad time. Or, at least, that's what we'd be joking about normally. However, Aunt Rosa was on edge, constantly exuding a sense of tension. So it definitely wasn't the sort of atmosphere for careless remarks like that. Hey, don't fall behind. Everyone move together. We don't know when or where the culprit might leap out at us, right? God, she's a bit more, control freaky than Nazi last time around. No, maybe Aunt Rose's attitude was more appropriate. Since grandfather hadn't come down, Aunt Rosa was our leader. This wasn't a situation where she could smile like she always did. And Aunt Rosa was a mother too. She probably also thought that, and if she didn't get a hold of herself, some harm might befall her beloved daughter. She beloved, though? The culprit had killed 6 of our parents at once. The method they had used was unknown, but there was a good chance this opponent could take down a large number of people in a flash. Would that be with weapons, or with numbers? Or with the magic of a witch? In any case, I couldn't think of a reason why it'd be okay to let our guards down. The rest of us had better take much, much greater care, just like Aunt Rosa. Everyone stop! Aunt Rosa spoke in a sharp voice. God, she's like a drill instructor. Wondering what this was all about, we peered forwards, and immediately realized the reason. Oh, there it is. Entering a room, sigil, or whatever it was. What is this? Eep. Everyone get back. Goto-san and Genji-san approached the door. Beyond the door was probably Jessica's room. Well, not probably, it is. This seems to be the same paint that was scribbled on the door to the chapel. It appears so. Seems not much time has passed since it was drawn. What the heck? Is that another magic circle? It's the first magic circle of the moon. It has the power to open unopening doors. Yeah, what I said. Drawn on the door to Jessica's room was the same kind of creepy scribble that had been drawn on the door to the chapel. That strange pattern must have had some occult meaning, but it didn't matter what that meaning was. We were worried about whether those two were okay. That doesn't matter. Are Jessica-chan and Ken-kun safe? This does not bode well. We should quickly bring those two downstairs. Well, Milady, are you there? Please answer. Goto-san knocked violently and yelled, but there was no answer. He gripped the doorknob with a clatter, but the lock just resisted him. Rosa-sama, it seems to be locked. There's no helping it. Please, open it up. Genji nodded, and Goto quickly unlocked the door with the master key. In the back of my mind, horrible images flowed up and disappeared, one after another. A magic circle had been drawn on the door to the chapel. Behind that lay 6 corpses. So if there's a magic circle drawn on the door to Jessica's room, then beyond it must be. Jessica-sama! What happened? Is she there? Jessica! What happened? It was truly heartless. The expression on Goto-san's face and his cry as he opened the door prepared us for the brutal fate that Jessica had met even before we saw her. Everyone rushed into Jessica's room at once. That scene told everyone that their worst fears were spot on. Jessica! How horrible. Dr. Nanjo. Oh, okay, we got Jessica. I heard it. Show me a Jessica. Found in her own room in the mansion with a weapon shaped like a stake rammed into her back. Finally, at the very end, she got to be with the person she loved. She must have been happy. Gosh. You know, I've never looked at the new ones when they're dead. Okay. So, oh dear. Not much to write home about, just a little more, blatant, I guess. You know what? Okay, the original one, it bothers me for all of them because, like, why is it, like, a slightly lower resolution in black and white? Like, I don't... Why? Okay, I'm sorry. Inside the room, which seemed elegant for the bedroom of one so young, Jessica lay crumpled on the ground. There was a large pool of blood on the floor, and there was a knife or something sticking deep into her back. Was it a knife? There was a design on the handle that just had to symbolize something demonic. It had to be a weapon with some kind of occult meaning. This is horrible. She has passed away. This probably reached her lungs. Not much time has passed since she died. Jessica! Damn it, damn it! Battler-sama. I was naive. I knew it. Since the culprit couldn't escape the island, they were definitely close by. So why didn't I get cautious sooner? I was naive. Just assumed that a culprit would commit their crime and then just sneak away and hide. We were stunned then. We thought Jessica-chan had given in to rage and running off was just something that couldn't be helped. But we were naive. We should have stopped her. Koda-san, why did you leave those two alone? If only you had been with them, something like this. No, that is, buddy. I said it was dangerous and we should return. It's just that Molly said she wanted to be alone. Ken-san told me to leave it to him and... Speaking of which, where is Ken-san? Okay, he's got the missing one, doesn't he? Yeah. Servant Cannon. The witch erased this corpse for fun. That alone caused an incredible uneasiness among the survivors. If that which exists resides in the human world, then that which does not exist is truly a fantasy. Fantasy takes the form of what they fear. Rip Cannon. Bro doesn't even get the blood. He's just gone. That's right. What in the world happened to Cannon-kun? Cannon-kun. Where? Cannon-san should have been with Milady. Where in the world did he go? You don't think they got him? Quiet. Someone might be hiding in this room. Search under the bed and in the closet. There was a chance that Cannon-kun's corpse had been pushed away somewhere. At Rosa-san's order, we searched throughout the room together. But there wasn't a single human hiding anywhere. He's nowhere. I'm sorry, did I say single human? Oh, single human. He's nowhere. Could the culprit have taken him out of the room? Then we'll have to search for him quickly and save him. If we're slow, something awful might happen. Aunt Rosa, let's search all over the mansion. Let's search for the culprit. Let's save Cannon-kun. Quiet! When Aunt Rosa yelled at us, we fell instantly silent. She was probably contemplating something. However, what in the world could that be? Aunt Rosa walked around the room as though looking for something, or as though she was collecting her thoughts. Then she found something on the side table by the bed and picked it up. If anyone knows, tell me. Which key is this? Aunt Rosa showed everyone a key with a cute mascot attached to it. Judging from its cute appearance, I didn't doubt that it was Jessica's key, but I had no way of knowing for sure. It is probably the key to this room, to Milady's room. After hearing that, Aunt Rosa made a point of going outside the door and checking. Without a doubt, it was the key to this room. I wonder why it was set in a place like this. Wouldn't you normally keep such an important key in your pocket? Not unless you were a witch who wanted to make a point of saying that there's probably only 2 keys to the room. One of which was inside the room when it was locked, and one of which being on Genji. Milady wasn't in the habit of locking her room. It seems she would only do it when she went to school, because she didn't want someone like Kraus-sama to look inside her room. I see. She wasn't at school, so it's natural that Jessica-chan would set the key down here. How many keys can open this door? Just the one Milady had. Oh, okay, I was wrong. Can't it be opened with your master keys? They can open it. Oh, no, I was right. How many master keys are there? Just the one? Are all of the servants holding them? Are there extras? Yes. We all have one. Okay. So there was more than that, but they were all on those people's persons at the time. As for extras, I wonder. There used to be several, but Madam scolded us harshly, saying that was careless, so they should have been dealt with. That is correct. There's only one held by each servant. There are no more. Wait a sec. I think we talked about extra master keys in the last game, right? Indeed. Well, regarding that, I have noticed that having several master keys whose locations are unknown is quite disadvantageous for me. That's probably right. Since you want to make me believe in magic using closed rooms, and really hurt you if there were more master keys than we thought. After all, every time a trick involving lock shows up, I plan to resist by arguing that the culprit had a master key that someone lost in the past or a duplicate. Yes, that's correct. So I've decided to make a move to defeat that. I'll update our setting. The only master keys are the ones held by the servants. 1 key each. Messing with me. More importantly, what kind of move is this? What's Aunt Rosa talking about? Who knows? You should try listening in. Thank you. I have the situation sorted out. And I've been able to pinpoint the culprit who assaulted Jessica-chan. Or at least one of their accomplices. Goda! What did you say? Who is it? Aunt Rosa, you don't mean Canon-kun, do you? No. No. Hold on. Don't you dare say it, Rosa. What? What, Canon-kun? The room was locked. Oh my god. It's my time. And the only keys that can unlock it are the master keys, held by each servant, and the key Jessica had. But Jessica-chan's key was closed up in here, which means it's only possible that one of the master keys locked this room up. It is as you say. In that case, someone killed Jessica, then locked the door. That person had a master key. And there are only 5 people with master keys. Oh my. It wasn't me, not me. No, I could never do such a thing. Kumasawa-san got up late. After we returned from the chapel to the parlor, we did meet you there. But it's impossible to prove where you were and what you were doing until that time. You watched us from the shadows. Chased! Rosa, I don't think she's chasing after anyone. Chased after Jessica-chan and Canon-kun when they were isolated, and stealthily attacked them. Well, I'm glad she doesn't suspect Canon, even though I guess it technically makes sense because you can't find him, and there's no proof that he's dead. Are you saying I visited Milady's room and did something so horrible? You know, I feel like Goda would be the most... oh my god. Most likely candidate, simply because he was the last one to see them, and, left them alone, so, you know, he has the key. I did no such thing. Yes, no such thing. What about you, Goda-san? You said you left Jessica-chan in Canon-kun's care and returned. But I wonder if that's true. Maybe you actually killed the two of them, hid Canon-kun's corpse, and then came back with an innocent look on your face. Nothing of the sort happened. I, Goda, swear that I did not do anything like that. It wasn't us. We were following the Master's orders and... Yes, you and Genji-san alone are clean. That's backed up by what I heard from Father. The two of you were in Father's room the whole time, transcribing and witnessing for him. Father and I can guarantee that. Thank you very much. In that case, the argument becomes who is more suspicious, Goda-san or Kumasawa-san. Come on, guys. It's Goda. It's Goda. I thought that myself right after entering this room. But still, I found it strange. Look at the state of Jessica-chan's body. Doesn't everyone think it's strange? Strange, you say? Jessica-chan was struck in the back. Come on, they say it all the time, right? That in crimes where the victim is struck in the back, there's a high likelihood that the culprit was someone whose face was known to the victim. She definitely wouldn't invite a person she didn't trust into her room and defenselessly expose her back. Rosa-sama, you don't mean to say that it was Kanin-kun, do you? No! No! Rosa, knock it off. Knock it the fuck off right now. I do. We're all fully aware of the state Jessica-chan was in right before she was killed. After seeing her parents' tragic bodies, Jessica-chan was very panicked. It's easy to imagine that after she regained her composure, she'd be in a horrible slump. It would be very understandable if Jessica's frame of mind led her to shut herself up alone in her room. And those particulars match with Goda-san's story. Jessica-chan said to leave her alone. And Kanin-kun, who's of a similar age and who may have had some adolescent relationship with her, said to leave this matter in his hands. That feeling is also very understandable. So for that reason, I think Jessica-chan welcomed Kanin-kun into her room. But what if it had been Goda-san or Kumasawa-san? Would she have let them into her room? I believe I've gained Milady's trust. Okay, you're not helping your case, and that's a good thing. But even so... Oh, then I guess you're still a suspect after all, Goda-san. I assume Jessica-chan probably didn't like you very much, so I didn't think she would have let you into her room. I was convinced that you couldn't possibly be the culprit, but maybe I was mistaken. No, I am sad to say that I may not have been accepted by Milady. Gosh darn it. What about you, Kumasawa-san? Oh, we are far too separated by age to understand the feelings of a young person like Milady very well. And for the same reason, perhaps Milady never opened up her heart to us. Right, Goda-san? Yes, that's right! It would have been quite difficult for her to open her heart to the likes of us, and it would be inconceivable for Milady to let us into her room when she was grieving. Goda-san and Kumasawa-bachan each rubbed their hands together, affirming each other with forced smiles on their faces. It was a truly unpleasant rondo. So it was a person who might be allowed to enter Jessica-chan's room while she was grieving. A person who might have been given access to her defenseless back, and who had a master key. That only points to one suspect. It is impossible for anyone except Kanin-kun. Please, wait. Kanin-kun definitely wouldn't do something like... Oh, then there's someone else? Is Goda-san or Kumasawa-san suspicious after all? Who do you think is more suspicious, Shannon-chan? Come on. I could never... It wasn't me, Shannon-san. Yes, it was not me. Of course it wasn't me either. The ones who had close relationships with Milady were Kanin-san, and after him, you. Right? Yeah, isn't that right? Jessica-chan might also let Shannon-chan into her room. You were supposedly with father. But in reality, could you be the culprit? Shannon couldn't be the culprit. Didn't you just say she was doing some important work with grandfather? Yes, I know. Neither Shannon-chan nor Genji-san is the culprit. Father confirmed that they were together the whole time. Well, then, what do you think, everyone? After being told that, no one could respond. Even if someone did manage to argue back, they didn't have to offer the name of a different suspect. And no matter who that suspect was, it would have to be someone right here. No one could do something like that. Aunt Rosa glanced at everyone in turn, fingering the gun like it was a toy. She seemed so different from the kind Aunt Rosa I knew. No, it's probably because I'm not fully aware of the danger we're in. Maybe Aunt Rosa's attitude would seem natural if I could truly sense the peril surrounding us. It looks like no one has an opinion. Then I'll give you mine. Of course, I can't deny the possibility that Kanin-kun's a victim without a corpse. But until we find that corpse, I certainly can't rule Kanin out as a suspect. There's a chance he'll suddenly appear again, claiming to have been attacked by the culprit and confined somewhere. But take care. Most likely, no. There's no doubt about it. Cannon-kun killed Jessica-chan. No way. I can't believe it. Cannon did that to Milady? That's too much. I feel the same as Shannon. I'm opposed to labeling Cannon-kun as the culprit. And then is the culprit Goda-san? Or Kumasawa-san? Tell me who's more suspicious. It wasn't us. If it wasn't Cannon-kun, then who could have locked this door? How about it, Shannon-chan? George-kun? Huh? Huh? Aunt Rosa closed in on Shannon-chan and George and Iki, laughing unpleasantly. Of course, they couldn't say anything back. They wanted to believe in Cannon-kun, but if they did, they'd have to suspect the other servants. Well, no, it's okay if you suspect Goda. I'm fine with it. The simplest culprit was the mystery guest Beatrice. But she was nothing more than a guest and didn't have a master key. That we know of. So, if Beatrice is the culprit, despite lacking a master key, then do we have to accept the argument that she really is a witch who locked the door with the power of magic? That's a dirty argument. Dirty. So dirty. What are you worried about? Make it my fault. You can just make it the fault of the 19th person, the mystery guest, right? If you do, you won't have to watch this ugly battle of humans blaming each other, right? So then what? The culprit is the 19th person, the guest Beatrice. She's a witch, so she could lock the door without a key using magic. Are you telling me to accept that? Damn it! Damn it! In the last game, I learned all of your weak points. So, what will you do? What will you do? You said you definitely wouldn't accept me, right? Then, you can use Cannon as the perfect sacrifice he is. Cannon killed Jessica. If you support Rosa's theory, everything is settled here, right? Cannon is already dead. There should be no need to show concern for the dead. And you won't have to suspect anyone in this room. Damn it! I won't accept you. But Cannon-kun being the culprit is impossible. I don't want to suspect anyone. However, at times, there's no smoke without fire turns out to be true. Anyway, you can never be too cautious. Dr. Doncho, what do you mean by that? Please do not misunderstand. I do not wish to label Cannon-san as the culprit. However, until we understand the situation, there is a possibility that he's the culprit. And I believe thinking that way is safer. Ho ho ho. Yes, that's right. You cannot be too cautious. The general consensus certainly didn't seem to find fault with Nanjo for what he said. True, no one actually thought Cannon was the culprit, but unless they suspected him, they'd have to suspect one of the servants here. We didn't want to do that. We didn't want to suspect it. We didn't want to be suspected. That's correct. We cannot be too vigilant. I take it no one objects to that, right? Understand? There's a very high likelihood that these murders are connected to Father's legend of the gold. That means the crime must have been plotted by someone who wants to keep a vast amount of gold worth several 10 billion yen, all for themselves. With that kind of money, you could play around for the rest of your life in any country. With a motivation like that, they might even intend to kill all of us. Because she didn't have a master key to the 19th. Master key, the 19th person, the guest Beatrice, is removed from suspicion for the murder of Jessica-chan alone. But we cannot conclude that she's unrelated to the crime. After all, it's a vast amount of gold we're talking about. We can't deny the possibility that there are multiple culprits. Right now, one of the people here among us might have been bought by the culprit. As Aunt Rosa yelled, she looked all around, her gun still raised. Don't believe anyone. Suspect the person next to you. That's what she was saying. But no one wanted to suspect. They didn't want to suspect anyone here. That weakness in their hearts demanded an answer from those not present. There are only two ways you can be sure someone isn't a suspect. If it's yourself, or if they're already no more than a corpse. The same goes for you. The same goes for Cannon-kun. Until we can catch sight of his corpse, he's the most likely suspect in Jessica Chan's murder. So take care. Even if he's still alive, even if he smooths things over with some explanation, you definitely mustn't trust him. Got it? No one gave an answer of their own initiative. However, those who met Aunt Rosa's eyes had to nod their heads. Humans are beings who live by molding themselves to fit society. In other words, from the time they're born, trusting each other is genetically imprinted on them. It's unpleasant to go against that. They never want to suspect someone, but if they're forced to suspect someone, they find it safest to choose someone who isn't present at that moment. For the purpose of safety and nothing more, they half-heartedly chose Cannon to be the sacrifice. That's ridiculous. I definitely don't want to believe that Cannon-kun is the culprit. I'd heard it from George and Iki just now, but not only were those two close in age, they also had that kind of adolescent relationship Aunt Rosa had mentioned. It may be a little late now, but yes, they really did have that kind of air about them. After seeing her parents' tragic corpses, Jessica bearing deep wounds in her heart would only have trusted Cannon-kun. It was very easy to imagine. And that's why I don't like it. Cannon-kun was the only one she trusted, so she wouldn't have let anyone but Cannon-kun in. So Cannon-kun was the only one who could have killed Jessica. I just can't accept that kind of argument. Understand? Even if Cannon-kun appears, don't let your guards down. As long as we cannot prove Cannon-kun's innocence, we will assume that Cannon-kun is the culprit who killed Jessica Chan. That was Aunt Rosa's claim. By using the vague word assume, she managed to convince everyone in the end. Everyone nodded weakly. And, with the excuse that they were just assuming it for the time being, they concluded that Jessica was the culprit who had killed Jessica. I wonder what the dead Jessica and Cannon would think if they could hear this exchange. Nothing good, I assume. Oh, stop it! No, you don't have to fucking rub it in! No! No! Jessica was crying. She was crying into the chest of the person who had put his life on the line to fight for her. Cannon. It was frustrating. So frustrating that it felt like her chest would explode. She grieved and resented how far the dignity of the dead had been trampled. Well, at least they're together now. How can those guys treat Cannon-kun like the culprit? Because there's no corpse. How can they treat you like the culprit just because there's no corpse? You risked your life to fight for me, right? Then that witch erased the corpse for fun. For them to call you the culprit after that. It's horrible. It's too horrible. It's okay. I wasn't able to protect you in the end. But I was able to be of use to you in our final minutes. Why doesn't everyone understand that? Stop it, Aunt Rosa. Don't call Cannon-kun the culprit with that messed up logic. She isn't saying I'm the culprit. She's just saying I'm suspicious, no. She's saying to be careful. She is saying it. These people are saying you're the culprit so they can stop thinking. They aren't thinking about who the culprit who killed me is anymore. They aren't thinking of the possibility that you aren't the culprit. And after this, every time something happens, they'll use the excuse that Cannon-kun did it, since we don't know where he is. I can't stand that. It's okay. At least you know the truth. If only I know the truth, that's pointless. I know it after dying. Truth belongs to living humans. If the truth doesn't remain, the dead won't be rewarded. They won't know what Canon-kun risked his life for. Surely a splendid sight. You hardly ever find a sweeter honey than the laments of the dead. Lament, lament. No matter how much you lament, the voices of the dead never reach the living. Damn it, damn it! It doesn't matter who. Hear my voice. Canon-kun isn't the culprit. Canon-kun's corpse was just erased. Why don't you understand that? Milady. I can't stand this. It's too sad. I hate it. This way, it's like Canon-kun died for nothing, right? The honor of the dead means nothing unless it's acknowledged by the living. It doesn't matter who. Notice it. Notice it, please. Canon-kun isn't the culprit. Don't go, everyone. Please don't let it end like this. Don't go. Rosa announced that this room would be sealed until the police came. The rest didn't want to suspect each other, so they happily accepted that. For now, they accepted that Canon was the culprit. Without even imagining how much disgrace that gave to the dead, they accepted it. Milady, you've done enough. Thank you. Don't go! Don't go, everyone! I'm begging you, come back! Don't leave us behind like this! Don't keep treating Canon-kun as the culprit! Ugh. It won't reach. The laments of the dead never reach. You make me laugh. Yes, that face of yours makes me laugh. Did you think your voice would reach them? It won't reach, will it, Jessica? It's all useless. Oh, Battler? Huh? Battler-kun, did you say something? Yes. It's useless. It's all useless. Just as everyone was about to leave the room, Battler's still alone with his back to them, still looking down at Jessica's corpse. What do you mean it's all useless? Do you have some objection? I agree that we've got to stay on our guards, but sorry, I'm not buying all that about Canon-kun being the culprit. Huh. So you're speaking up at a time like this. Canon wasn't the culprit, and it wasn't my doing. How do you explain this closed room that Jessica's room has become? To be honest, I don't even know clue that point. Seriously, why'd I have to go and say it's all useless? I guess I'd better take responsibility for my own words. I'm empty-handed with 0 weapons to argue with. But I'm not gonna sit around on the sidelines anymore, Beatrice. Battler-sama, is there some proof that Canon-kun isn't the culprit? The expression that rose to those two faces was definitely one of anticipation. They didn't want to believe that Canon was the culprit. They really believed in Canon. So they were expectant because they wanted me to strengthen their belief in him even more. Then, Battler, which of the other servants do you suspect? Goda-san? Yes. Or is it Kumasawa-san? Quit it, Aunt Rosa. I know the person called Kumasawa Bachan well. She'll sometimes slack off on the job, but she always makes things fun for people. Even if her eyes were dazzled by money, she isn't the kind of person who'd kill for it. Battler-sama. And I just met Koda-san yesterday. Honestly, I still don't really understand him. But there is something I do understand. I've never seen anyone who cooks as happily as he does. He's the same. Same as Kumasawa-bachan. Oh, well, you can't prove that. You know. Goda-san likes to make people happy. If it benefits him. As if a person like that could kill those who praise his own food as delicious, even if money was piled up in front of him. Then, who do you think killed Jessica-chan, Battler-kun? Who do you think shut Jessica up in a room that could only be locked with a master key? Wait, before I argue about that, there's something I want to make clear. I don't want to talk about if so-and-so is not the culprit, then so-and-so must be the culprit. I just want to talk about how it's completely impossible for Cannon-kun to be guilty. You say you can prove that Cannon-kun isn't the culprit? How? It's actually simple, and it's something I almost overlooked. Bito. Repeat it. If you can say it, try saying it. Cannon-kun had a master key on him. Huh. Cannon-kun doesn't have a master key on him? How could you possibly know that? Because it's right here, in my hand. A short while ago, I heard from Goto-san about what happened. About how Jessica went to raid the VIP room, right before she and Cannon-kun went off on their own. Goto-san, you did a good job remembering it. You protected Cannon's honor. I did? I heard him say the same thing, but I don't really understand. Could you explain it, Battler? That's right. When Jessica unlocked the VIP room, she borrowed the key from Cannon-kun, but didn't give it back. So Cannon-kun doesn't have a master key on him. Is that really so? True, Goto has no recollection of the master key being returned to Cannon. However, she might have returned it when Goto wasn't looking. How does that prove that it definitely didn't happen? If you could just search the pocket of Cannon's corpse, you'd be able to say for sure. But you can't. It's impossible to prove. It's all useless. It's actually pretty simple, isn't it? No way. So you're saying that's why Cannon-kun didn't have a key on him? Yeah. And to prove it, all you have to do is search Jessica. Cannon-kun's master key should be in Jessica's pocket. Dr. Nanjo, would you check for us? Yeah, can you touch the dead body so we don't have to? Indeed, I guess, I mean, you know. Nanjo dashed up to Jessica and searched in her jacket pocket. Was this like a dashing situation? Did we really need to dash this time around, or was, you know, everyone was expectant? Please, be there. Here it is. Is this it? Yes, that is a master key. Without a doubt. At Genji's statement, there was a small ooh of joyful voices. That's Cannon-kun's master key. I'll say it again. Cannon-kun doesn't have a master key on him, so there's no way he could have locked the door. It certainly does appear that way. But Cannon-kun was the last person to meet Jessica-chan. The fact that he's suspicious hasn't changed. Let's give that stuff a rest. Huh? Fundamentally, humans are supposed to be creatures that trust each other. But because we live in a tough world, we learn how to be deeply suspicious. So we suspect everything. We're sad creatures. I won't deny that's our nature. But The one thing I won't let you do is reach conclusions without proof. If someone looks suspicious, that doesn't make them guilty. It makes them innocent. Of course, the world is filled with wolves. I'm not saying you should carelessly believe everyone. But if you're gonna conclude that someone's guilty, you'd better have some perfect evidence. Unless you do, don't go around accusing them based on speculation. I was the one who brought up there's no smoke without fire. That was careless of me. I apologize. Battler-sama. Wonderful reasoning, Battler-kun. Thank you too, Goda-san. Because of what you remembered, Kennington's been cleared from suspicion. No, ha 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 ha. What you gotta say? Clap, clap, clap. There's a crisp sound of the witch applauding. Well done, well done. Not a bad job. Crap. Did I fall for that bait piece just like you wanted? You magnificently proved that Cannon at least couldn't lock the door to this room. The servants should all have master keys. With that as proof, Cannon was treated as the culprit. But you've at least managed to clear away that suspicion. In that case, how did the culprit who killed Jessica lock the door? So that's the problem we have now. Got drawn into exactly the flow you wanted. I got you, didn't I? Furthermore, you said something outrageous about not doubting any of the other servants. Well then, I can't wait to see how you try to smooth that over. Shut up. Let's start right away. You'll probably just deny it anyway, but first, let's check the definition of this room as a closed room. Very well. First, there are absolutely no types of hidden doors. This door is the only way in or out. The only way to lock this door is with Jessica's single key or the master keys, only one of which is held by each servant. It is on the second floor, but it is probably possible to enter or leave through the window. However, the window is locked from the inside. I can spin the chessboard around already. If I start by arguing about the door and the lock, I'll probably be stuck dancing on the palm of your hand. Do as you like. Well then, what should I repeat? Repeat it. Cannon-kun was killed in this room. Very well. Cannon was killed in this room. I heard a water droplet. Oh. Servant Cannon. There's no corpse, and yet he's dead. The witch said so in red, so he definitely is dead, even though there's no corpse. Damn. Poor Cannon. But I erased his corpse with magic, right? Again, repeat it. Cannon-kun's corpse is in this room. I refuse. I can't repeat it, because I erased the corpse with magic. Yeah, figures you wouldn't say that. There's got to be a secret hidden in there somewhere. Damn, what's this mysterious point I've got to find? Did they lock it without the master key? Or did they somehow kill those two while they were inside the room and it was locked? Or did they kill those two and then somehow escape? I hate to say it, but I'll have to cover up the moat first. Repeat it. The last time it was locked was due to a master key. I also refuse that. This refusing thing is really vague. I don't know if you refuse because it's impossible to repeat, or whether you can repeat it and you're refusing on purpose. Back when discussing the lock to the chapel, you completely turned the tables on me. When I have an advantage, there's no need to go out of my way to use red when it might be risky. That's all it is. I guess that makes sense. Originally, the point of the red was to counter my strange theories. Naturally, I'll use it in a way that works to my advantage. Now that I know I've got to worry about you twisting it around, I won't use it pointlessly. Well then, what move will you use next? I imagine a move placing suspicion on Goda or Kumasawa will be easiest. Yes? Damn. Feels like you're leading me by the nose and it pisses me off. Stay quiet a bit, I'm thinking. Of course. This door is the same as the chapel. When locked, it does not permit any form of entry. I'll say more. No trick could have the effect of locking the door from the outside without using a key. Okay. Okay, this is gonna be one I have to think on. I haven't thought of any theories yet, but next episode I will try and come back with a potential idea of how this could have happened if we don't reach it by the end of this episode. Damn you for always using red when I don't ask for it. Time to step back to square one. For now, I've just gotta think. I'll lay out everything I know. First, there are two victims. Jessica and Kannan-kun. Kannan-kun's corpse isn't here, but Beatrice admitted in red that Kannan-kun was killed. So even without a corpse, he's included as a victim. And there are a few questionable points, and depending on which I focus on, my line of thought changes a lot. First, after the culprit committed murder in this room, how did they lock it? If we assume the culprit's someone with a master key, it's extremely simple. But I'd like to avoid that if I can. Because I'd have to suspect Goda-san, or Kumasawa-san, or maybe even Shannon-chan and Genji-san. Here I noticed something. I was contradicting myself. I was strangling my own neck. I want to deny Beatrice no matter what. I want to erase the existence of that brutal, fickle, ridiculous witch. So I have to explain everything with humans, not magic. But that also means suspecting some human. I don't want to suspect anyone. Of course, if there's some clear proof, I'll have to believe that the person in question is the culprit. But until that happens, I don't want to suspect people. Am I just naive? Am I just a kid who doesn't want to have my feelings betrayed? When those feelings tell me that this person at least could never commit murder? Moira. I want to deny that a witch did it, and I also want to deny that a human did it. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. In the first place, the only victory condition in our game was whether or not you could deny my existence. Even though that alone puts you at a disadvantage, you've increased the number of victory conditions all by yourself, making your own victory harder. It's just as she says. If I just argue that someone with a master key did it, this closed room can be broken easily. However, the number of keys that can open this door is limited, and since it's clearly known who has them, using that argument means I'd be suspecting someone I know well. In fact, have I just been averting my eyes from the truth? Even while attacking that closed room trick in the chapel, which was exhilarating to destroy, I proposed that someone stole the key from Maria's handbag and returned it. If that theory is right, then the question becomes who could have stolen the key from her handbag. Maria's handbag was probably most unguarded while she slept. In that case, in addition to me, George, Aniki, and Jessica are also suspects. So George, Aniki, or Jessica is the culprit? Or maybe an accomplice? All of her parents have been killed, right? And yet, one of us consented to that and assisted with the crime? We all lamented, mourned, shed tears together in the chapel. And yet one among us was lying? That theory of yours about taking the key out of the handbag and putting it back cast a pronounced suspicion on the cousins, did it not? And despite that, you acted like you didn't even notice. Announcing a theory like that so happily. Damn it. That doesn't guarantee that one of the family or the servants is the culprit. He snuck up on us while hiding in a cardboard box, for example. There's a good chance he could have slunk into our room when we were fast asleep and stolen the key, right? Perhaps that will do for the situation. By suspecting a guest, the 19th person, you won't have to suspect the others. In that case, how was Jessica's room locked? It's no trouble at all for me to open the door with magic, but of course I don't have a master key. If you deny my magic, you also have to deny that I'm a suspect, correct? So, in other words, that means suspecting one of the 18. Oh, yeah, thanks for that help. I've managed to sort things out a bit. My goal is to figure out how the 19th person, the human guest Beatrice, committed the crimes. If I do that, I won't have to suspect anyone. If you can do that, foolish man. This wasn't a closed room from the beginning. After all, there are a total of 6 keys that can open it. And several people possessed such keys. You could suspect any of them. Suspect as much as you'd like. But you went to all the trouble of denying all of them and making it a closed room yourself. Understand? This is a closed room born from your mental contradiction. You and no one else sealed that door. So you're trying to say that I've got 2 options. Accept that a witch opened it with magic, or accept that someone I know is the culprit. Damn, are you trying to fork the rook? I just wanted to show you that moves such as this can exist as well. So, what will you do, Ushimir Battler? Isn't it actually simple? Don't you just have to make sacrifices for that overly self-confident cook and that hag who wouldn't be a loss if she died? Hey now. Damn it. If I suspect Goda-san and Kumasawa-san, everything will be fine. That's useless. I can't think of Goda-san as the culprit. I can't think of Kumasawa-san as the culprit. But I won't accept you, no matter what. In that case, they'd have to enter the room without using magic or a master key. Kill Jessica and Cannon, and even erase Cannon's corpse without using magic. How could it be done? How could it be done so that you can deny me while still not suspecting anyone else? I resign. Huh? Buttercun, what do you say? I give up. I was able to prove that Cannon couldn't have locked this door. But that doesn't mean I've managed to figure out who killed Jessica. No, that's more than enough. For Cannon-kun's sake. No need to thank me. After all, this means you're under suspicion too, Shannon-chan. And sorry, Aunt Rosa. It's not like I wanted to resist you. I don't want to die, and I want to find Dad and arrest the true enemy. Sorry for saying something that wasn't cooperative. No, it's okay. I was also a little rash. Let's make up. As an aunt and nephew, we have to stay on good terms. Right? Aunt Rosa shifted the gun to one hand and held out her other. I reached out, and for the first time being, we shook hands. Aunt Rosa's gaze was sharp. In order to deny the witch, she would sacrifice anyone. That's what her eyes told me. And me? I denied the witch. But I wasn't prepared to lose anything. It's probably the one who seemed to be fighting the most, and yet the one who was most separated from reality. What time are we getting to? 10? 11? Or, wait, 10, 11, 12. 1. Okay. Quite a few hours then. Enough time for another murder. Woohoo! Anyways, guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching this video, and, well, I'm just gonna say right now, it's Friday for me. So that means you're getting the second episode on Sunday. Well, I mean, you're getting both on Sunday, but you're getting 2 on Sunday. I'll say that. Quite the video. Quite the episode, I say. Can't wait to see how this develops, and thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later. Bye!